Update. My F-23 boyfriend, M26 little brother creeps me out, but my boyfriend isn't taking it seriously. I don't know what to do. Original post. Hi, I'm not really sure how to handle this situation and would appreciate some advice. I, 23F, have been with my boyfriend, 26mm, for almost 3 years, and we live together. Recently, his parents were arrested. I'd rather not go into the details, and as a result, his little brother, 11M, has had to move in with us. I understand the situation is complicated, and my boyfriend didn't really have a choice. Obviously, he couldn't just leave his brother with nowhere to go. The thing is, I find his little brother creepy, and I feel horrible even saying that. I know he's a kid, and he's gone through a traumatic experience, but some of the things he does make me really uncomfortable. For instance, he stares at me a lot, like almost all the time when we're in the same room. I'll catch him just watching me, and it's unsettling. He also has this habit of walking into our bedroom without knocking, especially when my boyfriend is out. I've told him multiple times that he needs to knock, but he either ignores it or just doesn't care. He will shower and use the bathroom with the door wide open, clearly so everyone can see him when walking past, even though I have told him he needs to keep the door closed when he's in there. One time, I had just gotten out of the shower and was in my towel when I walked into the bedroom, and he was just standing there staring at me. I asked him what he was doing, and he didn't even answer, just kept staring before finally walking away. I brought this up to my boyfriend, but he brushed it off, saying his brother is probably just adjusting to everything and doesn't mean any harm. I lent him my laptop because he said he needed it for homework, and when I got it back, it was completely filled with porn, like he had downloaded porn. It was in the search history. I told my boyfriend he needed to speak with him, but my boyfriend says it's normal for a boy his age. He just told me to clear the search history and delete what he downloaded. But he is not being normal. He is weirding me out, and I feel bad even saying it. I get that this kid is dealing with a lot. Losing his parents like that is traumatic, but at the same time, I feel like my feelings are being dismissed. My boyfriend says I'm overreacting, but I honestly feel really uncomfortable in my own home now. I even find myself avoiding being alone with his brother because it just feels weird. I don't know if I am overreacting, like I understand giving some leeway because of everything that's happened in his life, but he is really weirding me out. Any advice on how to handle this would be really appreciated. Now for some additional comments. Comment 1. Get a lock for the door, get that kid in therapy, and start discussing things like boundaries and healthy relationships, what they are, what they mean. Close the door on him in the bathroom, and eventually it will click. He's probably not talking because he just went through some hellish trauma. Allow yourself, your boyfriend, and the brother some grace for this adjustment period. You could also consider living separately for a while if it's in your best interest. Just take care of yourself, and you got this. Comment 2. This kid sounds like he really needs therapy. This is way beyond what you should be getting advice online for. I know he's just a kid now, but what about a few years from now? This behavior is not normal. None of what you describe is even close to normal for a boy his age. Therapy, and it might take a while to find a good therapist, is really your only option. Comment 3. This kid has serious issues and needs to be in therapy, like now. It's super concerning that your BF isn't taking it seriously and is dismissing your feelings. He's undoubtedly feeling really overwhelmed right now, but that's no reason to put so much of this on you. IMO. You need to put your foot down and tell your BF that if he won't take it seriously and get his brother help, that you don't feel safe and comfortable in the home and you're leaving. Make it clear. You're not saying it's me or your brother. It's everyone's mental health. Comment 4. I'm not sure anyone has mentioned this yet, but some of his behaviors indicate sexual trauma or child abuse. Being hypersexual, doing age-inappropriate things, not understanding physical boundaries, and seeking porn at 11 years of age are all indicators that this child has witnessed, experienced, or been exposed to things that were inappropriate. Your boyfriend may be jaded because he came from the same household, but he better wake up, get his head screwed on straight, and take this seriously. Allowing an 11-year-old to knowingly have access to porn is considered sexual abuse and child endangerment in some places. I understand your feelings. They're valid. Something is off with this child. However, before you jump straight to fearing him, try to put his behavior into perspective and look at things from a different point of view. Your boyfriend took guardianship of him. He needs to start acting like a guardian and start talking to his brother like an adult talks to a child. This child needs boundaries, and he needs to know that his behavior is unacceptable. Your boyfriend needs to tell him that when he uses the restroom or showers, the door remains closed. He needs to know it's unacceptable behavior to search for porn. If he can't be trusted with the computer, he will not be allowed to use the computer, or will only be permitted to do so under one of your supervision. This child needs therapy as soon as possible. You and your boyfriend need guidance and assistance. If DCS or a similar agency is involved, reach out and ask for help for this child and ask what you can do to get him help. Now for the update. Hiya guys. I wanted to give you all an update on my post from about 6 weeks ago. It's the only other post on my profile if you haven't seen it. First and foremost, thank you all for sending me the love, advice, and well wishes. A lot of you guys pointed out that my boyfriend, Caleb, seemed to be overwhelmed and was just sticking his head in the sand. And honestly, yeah. I sat him down a little while after I posted here and we spoke about his brother and everything going on, and he just started crying to me. He has cried in front of me maybe twice before, so I knew he was really feeling it. He said he was really sorry for the way he'd been acting, and that he was just feeling so stressed that he was just pushing everything down and away. He agreed that Avery's behaviors were unacceptable, and that I told him he needed to have a firm conversation with Avery about boundaries, or I just wouldn't be able to live with them much longer. Caleb said he would enforce a change of rules, and then he started sobbing, went gray, and started hyperventilating. I was seriously concerned and confused about what was happening. He said he needed to tell me something. I was comforting him and trying to calm him down, and he told me. He was a victim of pretty extreme CSA from his dad, and he thought Avery probably was as well, which we later found out was true. That explained a lot. Why Avery had no awareness of boundaries, why he was displaying these weirdly sexual behaviors, why we had such low contact with his parents before all this. But I met his parents, met them multiple times. Yeah, we had LC with them, but I met them. I had been to their house. They just seemed like normal people, nice people. They weren't creepy, or scary, or weird. I was really shocked at everything Caleb told me. Caleb had been hiding it for so many years, and he felt so ashamed that he hadn't reported it sooner. He said he was really hoping that the abuse hadn't also happened to Avery, and so I think he was trying so hard to ignore any signs that he had. He said he felt responsible because he never reported his dad, which meant the abuse could continue. But I told him none of this was his fault. He has no blame in him being abused, or Avery being abused. We sought advice on what to do. We reported what Caleb had said to the police and to social services. Both Avery and Caleb were interviewed, but we haven't heard much back from the police about anything that might happen next. They said it could be a long process if they managed to bring any charges at all. Social services started giving us some more support. Avery has been behaving a lot better since. He's been listening to boundaries more. He's actually changed a lot in the short time since I posted here last. He's come out a bit more as a pretty charming and charismatic boy. Even though, if I'm totally honest, he's still a little weird, but maybe that's to be expected after having the life he had. I got him into Scouts, and he's made a pack of really close friends who have even come over a few times. He's been getting on well with school, although they said he's only on KS1 level work, but I'm sure he'll catch up in time, and even if not, it's not the end of the world. Story 2. Am I the asshole for giving the talk to my son's friend? Original post. So, I, 29 Manum, have a son, Jack, 11M, who's friends with Tom, 12mm. Recently, Tom moved in with us because his mum went to jail. I don't want to go into details here. Tom's going to be with us for at least 2 years. I used to be close friends with his mum, but we've drifted apart over the years. Despite that, Jack and Tom stayed mates, and they even go to the same school. Since Tom's been living with us, he's been sharing a room with Jack, and I've always tried to be really open with Jack about bodies, hygiene, and growing up. My parents were super religious, and they avoided any talk about puberty and sex, so I pride myself on being honest with Jack, in an age-appropriate way, of course. Now, Tom, bless him, is very small for his age, and clearly hasn't had the best care. He's been with us for just over 10 weeks now, and I've noticed he's been neglected in the past. He's asked me loads of questions about puberty, and honestly, it was clear he didn't know much about keeping himself clean. He'd come home from school smelling a bit off, and even after showering, his hair would still be greasy. So I decided to sit both Jack and Tom down and give them a little talk about hygiene. I did it with both so that Tom wouldn't feel singled out. But the truth is, it was mainly aimed at him. I showed them how to properly wash themselves in the shower, how to clean their hair, and how to use deodorant. I even bought Tom his own shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, and some aftershave, so he had nice stuff just like Jack. That was about 5 days ago, and since then, Tom hasn't smelled bad at all and seems to be taking better care of himself. I felt good about helping him out, but when I mentioned it to my family, my brother was not happy. He said it was inappropriate for me to give that kind of talk to a kid who isn't mine. But in my mind, Tom is my responsibility right now. While he's living under my roof, I want to treat him the same way I treat my son. He said I had overstepped, and that it wasn't my place to give the talk to a child who isn't my own. He kept insisting that it should have been left to Tom's family, even though Tom doesn't really have family to step in, and if someone had done that with his son, he would have lost it. Honestly, he seemed to get very emotional about it, and I really don't understand why. I didn't give this talk to his son, even though, honestly, his son would benefit from a talk like that. And now he is not speaking to me, and my mom said I should apologize to keep the peace, but I don't even know what I am meant to be apologizing for. Now, for the update. Hi guys, this is an update to the post I made about 3 weeks ago. In that post, I described how I gave a puberty hygiene talk to my son's friend, who I am currently the legal guardian of while his mom is in prison. You can read the whole thing on my profile. My brother got really upset that I had done this, for some reason. Firstly, thank you to everyone who responded. I couldn't answer anyone as my account was banned, because apparently my first post contained sexually suggestive content involving a minor. If you go back and read the first post, it is not at all sexually suggestive. I have no clue how it got me banned, but I filed an appeal to Reddit, and they stood by their decision and said that it was sexually suggestive content. I am genuinely at a loss for how it could possibly be sexually suggestive. I would actually like anyone who's reading this to go back and read my original post and let me know if you think it was inappropriate at all. If so, that wasn't my intention, and I really do apologize. Some people were asking if it was possible that my brother was Tom's father, and although I haven't brought that up, I think it is unlikely. We did know Tom's mother when she was pregnant with Tom, but they never really had that type of relationship, and I can't envision my brother not raising a child of his. With my hygiene talk to Tom, I really opened the floodgates. He has since been asking me a lot of questions about puberty. I did say to him at the time he could come to me with any questions, and I would answer them truthfully and non-judgmentally, which is the approach I take with my own son. In my point of view, if they are curious about something, I would rather explain it to them personally, in an age-appropriate way, than them either search online, ask friends, and potentially get wrong or inappropriate information. I got chance to speak with Tom's social worker, and I told him that he's got a lot of questions, and he recommended I buy them both a puberty book and tell them to read it, and if they have any further questions to just carry on being open and honest in an age-appropriate way. Even though my mom said she thought I hadn't done anything wrong, she wanted me to apologize just to keep the peace. I admit I am a bit of a pushover and I have done this in the past, but this time I said no. We aren't kids anymore. My brother can't just throw a tantrum and get whatever he wants. I think you guys are probably correct in saying that my brother is projecting a little. His son is at an age where he really needs a talk like the one I gave my boys, and he seems to be failing in that department. Whenever I see my nephew, he has oily hair, smells bad, and doesn't seem like he's cleaned his teeth. My brother blames it on his son's autism, but if that really is the case, that's a failing on himself, not his son. It's his job as a parent to ensure your child's needs are met, and he is clearly not keeping his son's hygiene needs. Anyway, things are good on my end. Since giving the talk with Tom, he has really started to take pride in his appearance and in his hygiene. He has showers almost every night without prompting, and there have only been 1 or 2 occasions since where he's walked past me and I've oh man, you need a wash. But I think eliminating that completely is tricky for a preteen boy, honestly. He is also really settling in, well, and Jack is loving having a friend stay with him. They keep calling themselves the Bacon Brothers, which is apparently a reference to the Roblox game they play together, but I don't really understand how. If you read this, thanks. I hope you all have a nice rest of your day.